and gentlemen, this is Jerome Gaiman. I'm your host. I'm calling, actually hosting from beautiful state of Florida. Very beautiful here. With me are my co-hosts and our panelists and our guests. Mr. Padmore from the cold state of Minnesota. He's sitting pretty and ready to rock and roll. And my brother from another daddy is in Massachusetts, another cold spot. We appreciate you getting out of church and coming here to take some time to discuss. And our special guest today is Honorable Benjamin Kofat Fanier, 2023 presidential aspirant. He is nothing new. He's not new to this context. He's not new to this platform. He's not new to Liberian politics. So we are here to harmonize, discuss issues affecting our republic. As you know, this is the political season. We call it silly season. You're going to hear a lot. You're going to see a lot. And it is our job to put them in proper perspective. Mr. Padmore, how you doing there, my friend?
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay. While Padmore is getting ready, Mr. Dualo, how you doing there, sir?
Excellent. I'm doing great. We're happy to be on board as always to talk about Liberia. We'll never be busy for Liberia, so we have to keep pushing the issue until we get it right. Once again, gentlemen, thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Honorable Fanier, how are you? How's the family? And how is everything with you?
Oh, well, I want to say I'm fine. I want to always tell you a big thank you for inviting me to our friends at Focus on Liberia. It's always good to be amongst Liberians and just dialoguing and discussing issues on Liberia. I look forward to a very, 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 very healthy and informative dialogue, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Good. Let me go back to Mr. Padmore. Mr. Padmore, how you doing there, sir?
You all hear me now?
Yes, yeah, beautiful, clear.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. They men paying for airtime. They men need to start paying for airtime.
They men so introduce you say you can't start fight. They men
buy
you start fight before you even introduce yourself. This man, it's close to Riverside. They got some crew blood here. They're fighting.
Anyway, I'm glad to be here. I'm actually not in Minnesota today. I'm traveling. I'm actually in the nation's capital. I came all the way out here to see Jimmy in Philly. Can you believe that? So anyway, he got to pay a fine. When you get by, you got to pay a still fine, indeed.
Yes.
But I'm glad to be here, and I'm revved and ready to go.
Great. Usually I say 20, 30 years ago, if we have had a platform such as this, where we could discuss our issues and find commonality. I may be naive to think so, but I think we will have resolved most of our issues.
I agree.
Than going into the bushes and killing each other. So this is beautiful where we can come and discuss and talk about these issues. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are asking you to please share the show on your link, your connections, the different organizations, the different groupings that you belong to. Let's share. And the show is divided into 3 segments: our introduction, our discussion, then we read our comments. We usually get some calls in to see how our folks are doing, and then we go into our closing. And finally, we usually ask our panelists to call the play of the week, the political play of the week. And everybody comes up with something that they find is a political, either a talk, a quotation, a political move that have made a major difference that we can look at and say this was a great move. So that is the political play of the week. From last week to this week, hopefully we have seen something else. So let's go through, Mr. Padmore, let's go through the topics here. I know you were in transit, so you didn't contribute, but you were ready to discuss these issues.
Yes, I am. So the first topic we'll have today is Prince Johnson's opens up on Cummings and affirms support for Weah. The second one is the infamous dirty videos with litany of wild allegations. The third is the another endorsement for Cummings, and nothing for Boakai yet. And the fourth is President Weah and delegation to the UN General Assembly, while U.S. ambassador is recalled. And the fifth is former Finance Minister Amara Konneh is running for the Senate. So those are your. Oh, there's an N. There's another one to sweeten the pot. Nathaniel McGill to be petitioned by 3 counties. I believe that is a record. I believe that is a record indeed. That Nathaniel McGill sanctioned Nathaniel McGill to be petitioned by 3 counties to be senator. Wow.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just listen to the topics that we'll be discussing. Like I said, now is the political season. Even Mr. Padmore doesn't have to call me. Mr. Dualo doesn't have to call me. Mr. Fineo doesn't have to call me to see, let's discuss topic. Anything I put out here, we are ready to discuss. That's how much it is easy picking politically. So let's go to number 1. Mr. Dualo, let me start with you because you're way up north. Prince Johnson opens up on Cummings and reaffirms his commitment to support President Weah. On the Spoon Network, we have no problem plugging our friends and brothers here. We are all the same. He came on, actually, he was invited for several allegations made against him by Representative Swakoko. And he was all over the place. And he began to attack and attack and attack and attack. And you know, as it is, that's Prince Johnson. Mr. Dualo, I know you saw it. What's your take on the Prince Johnson conversation?
Look, Mr. Gaiman, let me say this to you first and foremost. Prince Johnson is an ungrateful, I'm not going to use the other word, but I'm going to say this when it comes to Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings did something to elevate Liberia. He didn't care that whoever he went to, his intention was to contribute to an education foundation in Nima County to elevate the people there. That's one section. Number 2, Prince Johnson would do whatever it takes to make sure he doesn't get prosecuted for his crimes. So he will go in there with President Weah to protect him. In fact, he's not supporting President Weah. He's supporting himself not to get prosecuted. And he understands the only truest way not to get prosecuted is to align with President Weah, even though he himself said President Weah is a danger to the Republic. This is what Prince Johnson said. I'm paraphrasing here. If President Weah becomes president, we could literally go back to war. This is what he said. It doesn't get more radical than that. This is what, in the words of Prince Johnson himself. Now, he's saying this. He's trying to downplay Honorable Cummings, and I don't see where the anger is coming from. If somebody contributes to your foundation and that contribution elevates Liberia, shouldn't you be excited for it? Does it matter? Honorable Cummings did not contribute to Prince Johnson's foundation so he can support him. He contributed to it so he can elevate Liberia. And some people don't see that. You see, this is what we do in the country. Look, hate Cummings if you want to hate Cummings, but don't hate Cummings when he has done nothing wrong. Everything Honorable Cummings has done over the last few years he got in Liberian politics is to elevate Liberia. And I'm not a Cummings supporter. I'm saying this. But look what the man's trying to do is to improve the conditions in the country. We talk about the STEM program that Cummings is facilitating in Liberia. Some people will come out and say, they're asking for $600 for STEM education, the only foundation in the country. Prince Johnson is a disgrace to Liberia. He's a danger to Liberia. He will go to bear with anybody who's going to protect him. And in this instance, he's not supporting President Weah because he agrees with President Weah's policy or anything President Weah has done. He's supporting President Weah because he believes President Weah can protect him, not to the benefit of people in Nima County, but for Prince Johnson's personal safety. I'll give it back to you.
Great. Mr. Padmore, this is a vicious attack on your candidate. Mr. Honorable Prince Johnson said not only did he try to bribe him by giving him tons of money, he went to actually have his indulgence to have Senator Konneh to be his running mate. And not only that, but he said he asked Mr. Cummings, what is your take on homosexuality? And Mr. Cummings says, It's a lifestyle that he struggles with. He said he doesn't support, on the second take, he doesn't support gay. He's not gay, but he supports gays' right. So Prince Johnson retort, if you support gay right, you are gay. And he went on to say that Cummings is a snake in the grass, talking talk in the day, and then at night going to his house to ask his indulgence to give him a running mate.
Okay, so let's stir up a few things here. The first thing is that Mr. Cummings has never been to Prince Johnson house at night. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing here is that Mr. Cummings and Prince Wife Johnson have never had a conversation concerning gay rights in Liberia. They have never had a conversation. Mr. Johnson was referring to an interview that was given by Mr. Cummings, where he stated very clearly, I am not gay, but I believe that every Liberian should have their own rights. He didn't even say gay rights. He didn't even use those words in tandem. No. He said every Liberian should have their own rights. Human rights. Basic human rights. Every Liberian should have one. Of course, Mr. Johnson, all of us here are old enough. I don't know about the presidential aspirant, but all of us here are old enough to remember during the war how Prince Johnson used to execute homosexuals. We all know this. And this is what he is doing right now. Basically, he is saying, if you are a Liberian and you are a homosexual, there is no space for you in Liberia. You know? And Mr. Cummings doesn't believe that. He believes that a Liberian citizen has all equal rights, you know, regardless of your sexual orientation. That is your personal business. You keep that in whatever you do in your room, that's your personal. Look, Prince Johnson shouldn't be looking in people's room to see what nobody knows what Prince Johnson is doing in a room, you know. But anyway, so that was the case. As regards to the school, Mr. Cummings has tried his best to help educate Liberians, all 15 counties. Mr. Johnson's school, his university, is the largest university in Nima County. Okay? And if that university is going to educate Nimbayans, Liberians, Mr. Cummings will do what he can to assist Nimbayans. He wasn't assisting Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson shouldn't stand to benefit from that university. It should be Nimbayans that are looking for education, looking to change their lives, looking to change their future through education. And because of that, Mr. Cummings will always look to help Liberians in that manner, no matter who's standing between them. And I need to make sure that is clear.
Mr. Ismail, you okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, hopefully you're not driving.
No.
Okay, great. Okay, we are talking about the topic, as you know. I think Mr. Johnson was referring to an interview that was held between Mr. Cummings and the late Mamadi Diakente, where he said, this is a lifestyle that I struggle with. And Diakente said, Mr. Cummings, is that the right answer for this question? He said, but that's the real Cummings. The politicians will come up with a political description, but this is me. This is the real me. This is a lifestyle that I struggle with. So Johnson is saying, anyone who says that and then turn around and says, I support gay rights. He is saying, when you become president, you have the right to have executive order. Without a law of the land, you can have executive order to give the privileges and honor to folks, even do it against the culture and the custom of the country. So he's saying, based on that, based on his biblical and his Christian upbringing and our cultural value, this man is not qualified for someone that he will support.
Okay. Well, let's bring this thing into context. Prince Johnson has a lot of allegations against him, more than any other warlord, any other participant other than Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in a war. Prince Johnson has a lot of accusations and allegations against him. Prince Johnson is also one of those sanctioned by the U.S. government. So we know that Prince Johnson has a lot to lose in who becomes president of the United States. President of Liberia. Because he is feared that they might even hand him over to the United States for prosecution. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes.
So we can understand why Prince Johnson will be against anyone who advocates a war crimes court. All right. Now, these allegations of Cummings and his lifestyle, we have very more important things in Liberia. I don't really give that thing a rat's ass. I don't give it a thought, because we have some really desperate problems in Liberia we need to address. Educational problems. There are no professionals where they need to be. All our institutions are breaking down. Our children don't have future. The orientation of our children is to go to government and steal money. The healthcare system is down. We have so many issues to address that is trivial and nonsensical to me. I wouldn't even bother with it. But the real issues are getting Liberia back on its feet, making progress. We're looking at the job creation. We're looking at industry expansion. That is the report card. And any other trivial issues, those are distractions. And I don't think we should be bothered with that.
Great.
So Prince Johnson squarely is concerned about who becomes the president of the United States, because he's already on that sanction list.
Thank you. Ben.
Yeah.
Prince Johnson opens up on Cummings.
Yeah. Everybody on this show said a lot of good things, but let me disagree with one thing with what Mr. Eastman just said. He said he don't want to be pardoned. Let me tell you why we should be. Prince Johnson is an icon of everything that is wrong with Liberia. Everything that is wrong. He is an icon of everything that is wrong with Liberia. We don't hold people accountable. We allow people to get away literally with what I would call murder. Let me say something before I go ahead. On Friday, September 20th, 2019, Mr. Cummings of the ANC, this is press release. Cummings said, and I will quote here, "We cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting different results." I'm kind of a little bit shocked that Cummings would even be having positive interactions with Prince Johnson. I am just shocked. From me, individual. Let me say another thing. I don't believe that whatsoever Mr. Johnson said is even something that we should believe. Like the first guest just said, Prince Johnson is literally in survival mode. I listened to that show on Spoon TV. He literally said he's scared. I don't know the reason why he's scared, mainly, but he was saying that he goes to work and go home. And for me, to a large extent, I think he's afraid that to some extent he will be held accountable. He must be held accountable. There are lots of people who were summarily executed. He must be held accountable. So I will tell you this, I do not believe anything he said about Alexander Cummings. I do not. I don't believe them. I don't believe anything he says. I want to say this. On November 1st, 2009, you can go to kmtvliberia.com. Prince Johnson, the same Prince Johnson, said the election of next year will be rigged by George Weah. And even he said that when the election is rigged, there will be war. That's what Prince Johnson said. Now, a few months ago, the same Prince Johnson, Nyombli Kanga and Dillon, they were in an argument. where he just came in and said, "Oh, Nyambi Kanga, work with Charles Taylor, all kind of." What I think he's doing most time, he's trying to take the argument from him to something else. He's trying to literally, redirect the argument. For me, it's a tragedy that in 2022, we are still talking about this individual who was literally engaging heinous activities. I'm talking about unimaginable. Let me bring it to myself. Me, I was seized by Prince Johnson's men. I was stripped, completely naked. These people, they violated people. To such an extent that this man is walking literally free in Liberia. He can go on the radio. He has a church. It says something about our society. It says something about who we are.
Well, real quick. You said it says something about our society.
Yes. Okay?
So let's go down the list. You talk about Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, you talk about Charles Taylor, you talk about Tom Boboyu, you talk about Setoma, Maurice Setoma, you're talking about Sano Johnson, you talk about Prince Johnson, you talk about Yeke Koluba, you talk about the whole Liberia, the whole leadership.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's a TRC list. That's a whole host of people. None of them have been held accountable. None of them. It says something about who we are.
But Mr. Ben, I want to ask you though, and this is why I say what Cummings is doing in his bedroom is irrelevant and negligible, and you say you disagree. I said what is more important is the accountability of Prince Johnson to the War Crimes Court and all the different ills of the country, and you say you don't agree with that.
No. What you said, and maybe I misunderstood you. You were literally trying to, dismiss, the individual as like we don't need to pay attention to him.
So what he's saying about Cummings, that was the issue. We don't care about that stuff. There are more pressing issues in Liberia that we need to be concerned about, and then somebody inhabits.
Jimmy, you cannot say we. Speak about yourself. Say I don't say we.
You see, you're probably missing what I'm saying.
Wait a minute. We have poverty. Do we not have poverty in the country? Are we not recessing in growth? Are we not challenged with various economic woes? Are we not faced with a deepening joblessness? Are we not faced with vagrancy and zogoism on the rise? Are we not faced with these social problems?
No, I think you are. Please don't get riled up. We have more time. It's a little bit early. What I'm telling you is Cummings should not even be associated in the same sentence with Prince Johnson. You were saying we should dismiss what he's saying because they are more important. So I say no. He should be held accountable for his actions. Because
Ben, I think you misunderstood that though. Let me tell you what he said. Because can you guys hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay. What he's trying to say is because we have so much important things in the country, let's not worry about these allegations about somebody being gay. They're not important right now. That was the gist of his argument. It is not paying attention to Prince Johnson. You're absolutely right. Prince Johnson is a full personification of what is wrong with our country. Anybody understands that. But we have more pressing issues. Look, we worry about gay. Look, if it's a new homosexual, hypothetically speaking, and the person can solve our problem, should we care? I want Liberia to get better. That should be our focus. But I want to say something, Mr. Gayman, that you brought up in the beginning, and I kind of overlap that. I don't want to forget this. You said if we have platforms like these, maybe we would not go to the bushes and kill each other. I agree with you. This is why when you have seditions, when somebody come on the airwave and the person counter a point that is being promoted by people like you or the Gilmans of the world, and then people say, oh, when you come to Liberia, you will see. We have to stop this. We have to stop this because we will talk about Liberia.
Mr. Dualo, where you got that from?
Mr. Michael Gilman.
On this platform.
Not on this platform. Mr. Michael Gilman. If I read it on my page.
No, listen.
I just saying something.
Mr. Dualo, I wouldn't allow you to do that because you need to. You see, this is what we are talking about. We're talking about justice in the real sense. You have to face your accuser or
I agree.
whoever it is that you have problem with. But we cannot discuss Michael Gilman here. We are talking
I
about.
agree. Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're right.
Guys, listen.
Mr. Gilman, let me land, please.
Yeah,
because
we
I'm
got 2 minute topics here. I want to go to the next one.
You know, whatever. I think there's a disconnect here. What I'm trying to say, if Prince Johnson was held accountable, he wouldn't have even been a free man today to be accusing Cummings of homosexuality. I don't care what Cummings does in his room. I don't care. I don't care what he does in the room. What I'm saying is, this man is an icon of the decay of the rot in our society, because even with all his heinous activities, he continues to be relevant. It shouldn't be here, but we shouldn't be discussing him. Like Mr. Eastman said, we have lots more pressing issues. Why would we pay attention to what Prince Johnson is saying? Because we as a society, we didn't hold Prince Johnson accountable.
Ben, before we move on, let me correct you here, because like you say, I agree with you. If it is true that this man should not be dealt with, and we all agree he's not a person that anybody should do business with, then why is it that the president that wants to replace George Weah is basically visiting this man, asking his indulgence?
He's serious.
That is my problem.
President Weah lives with Prince Johnson.
That is my problem. That shows Cummings lacks critical judgment. Because Cummings said, like I showed you, he said you can't keep doing the same thing over and over. You can't go to Prince Johnson and strike a deal. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You are the difference maker.
How do you know Cummings wants to Prince Johnson and strike a deal?
Well,
before you
Mr. Padmo, you or anybody from the ANC can have not debunked Prince Johnson by saying that he met with Cummings.
So
ANC have not debunked that Mr. Cummings is trying to get the senator from Nima to be a running mate. You have not debunked that. He said that over 55,000 were given to him. You guys have not debunked that. So this is what we are talking about. This man is so vile. Why is it that you guys keep grabbing him? And he made it clear yesterday. He said they can say all they want to say, but Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was here, and Ginny was here, George Weah was here, Finley was here, Bronsky was here, Cummings has been here. So all of these, this man is so vile. Why is it that these people keep going to him for his blessings?
Let me tell you now. Let me make it very clear to you. Very, very clear to you. Mr. Cummings has not been to Prince Johnson to solicit anything from Prince Johnson. Do you understand me clearly what I am saying to you? He has not. This Prince Johnson, let me carry you back. I like the age group because I like to go back. Samuel Doe was captured at the Freeport, brought Prince Johnson into his office. While his ear was caught.
Okay?
Wait, let me finish. Let me land. While his ear was caught, okay, Prince Johnson asked Samuel Doe, why did you come to my territory without informing me? And he said, I sent Sally Thompson to you. And and Prince Johnson said to him, that's right, I fool you. This is a man. Why you guys acting like Prince Johnson is somebody that is honest, that has integrity, that he says something, not everybody running with it. You should be embarrassed to come on living TV and say, oh, Prince Johnson says so and so thing, so why isn't the ANC responding to it? This is a man that is vile.
Yeah, but Michael Palmo, you cannot
waste your time.
Mr. Palmo, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. He accused you of giving him money. He accused you of visiting him. You agree that you gave him money, but then you say, I didn't meet with him. You can't have your cake and eat it too. For you to have given him money, and he spelled out how the money was given to him. He spelled out how the money was given to him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
We did not give him money. We gave the school money.
Okay, there you go. Now you want to split hair. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to number two. Let's go to number 2 on here. We have hopefully Mr. Eastman can come back. He needs to get a stable phone. All that money you're making in Washington, D.C., he can't even get a phone to stick on his dashboard. He's falling and fighting over the phone. Anyhow, let's go to number 2 on here. The infamous dirty video with the litany of wild allegations. Mr. Dualu, you saw, we are not going to play this video, but we want you to comment on our video. It was masterfully done by somebody that has an interest, but they made a terrible mistake with the diction. It's the diction that got him in trouble. Your take on that video?
Okay, Mr. Gimmy, I will say this to you. I'll be very, very clear here. I'm not going to focus on the video. I will focus on the content of the video. I want to list them one at a time. And I want you, the video is fake. There is no argument to the contrary. The video is fake. But let's look at what was said in the video. We know Burkinabés were coming into Grand-Juda County. It has been reported in the newspapers that Burkinabés went to Grand-Juda County, and there was land dispute because some of the Burkinabés were intruding on Liberians' lands. So we know with complete certainty that there are Burkinabés in Grand-Juda County. Why they are there, nobody knows why they are there. They call them farmers, whatever they're doing. They're mining. It's a whole different story. We know with complete certainty that a magistrate out of Grand-Juda County went missing. I believe he was found dead or he got found or something. I don't remember the detail, but he went missing. We know with complete certainty that President Weah tries to get rid of every single magistrate in the country. He tries to pass a law against that. We know with complete certainty that there was money printed and the money was not put into circulation in Liberia. People still asking where's the money. We know with complete certainty that money was taken off the market and the money should have gotten burned. There has been no record published to the public saying the monies were burned. We know with complete certainty that President Weah built a massive mansion on 9th Street after he destroyed his compound. How that mansion is built, we don't know. We know with complete certainty that McGill, Lieutenant McGill, put together ex-generals in Liberia. He brought them together. It was mentioned in his report. We know with complete certainty that Lieutenant McGill was building houses across the country. We don't know how he built his houses. He built a mausoleum for his mother. We don't know what's buried in that mausoleum. We know with complete certainty that there was $25 million that was infused into the economy that cannot be tracked and fully accounted for. Where all the money is going. We know it with complete certainty that in Lofa County, CDC put together the CDC brigade. They were in red berets and they were forming their own local militia to protect quote-unquote sedition. So Yeke Koluba came up to counter that. So now, I'm going to digress here and say this. The video is fake. What being said in the video all fake. Let's address that. And I'll give it to you guys.
Mr. Ben, I know you want to chime in on it before I chime in with
yeah. You see, the first thing I want to say, there's one thing I like about Liberia. Most time it's easy to throw accusations around. I don't know if you guys observe law courts. I mean, in Liberia, most times they take folks to court. Most times, the people who take people to court, they lose. Because I think a lot of folks don't understand that accusations must be backed by evidence. I would say this. I mean, Dwalu, said a lot of things, but my problem is, for me to accuse George Weah of stealing, for me, I'm not talking about anybody else, I must have corroborating evidence. I can't just accuse anybody of stealing, because even if that person sue me, it can amount to what they call libel. So, in Liberia, okay, if George Weah breaks his house down, right, and he rebuilt that house, I can only say there is an appearance of illegalities. I cannot say, oh, George Weah is stealing to build that house. I went on a show, a guy said, oh, George Weah is a rogue. I said, but how do you, how can you prove that? So all I'm trying to say is what I watch in that video is mostly what I would call hearsays. It's mostly allegations, and they are like sensational. I will tell you, let me just react to one. The $25 million that was infused in an economy that a lot of people say were lost. There was international auditor, 2 of them audited that $25 million. And when they say the government only made procedural errors. Now, we can say, well, there were a lot of things that were wrong, but it's not like somebody stole.
No,
Ben, hold on a second, sir. Hold on a second. Okay. So you see, some of us who are trying to look at these things, if we want to reinforce some of the myths that are out there, let's bring additional, or what I call corroborating pieces of evidence. Let me just say one last thing. Let me say one last thing. My good friend talk about CDC brigade in Lofa. For me, it is unfortunate that we have these kind of things occurring in Liberia, but we have militancy, hyper militancy. We have Yeke Koluba showing green vests, militancy, I mean, almost, or even the ANC. What we can say is these things are ugly. Let's frown upon them. Let's all upon them, because it is not. These are not restricted to CDC.
Okay, but listen now, Ben. The CDC have a brigade. The CDC have a brigade.
No,
sir.
No.
What I'm saying is there were people wearing brown things in red hats in local county. Yes, I say yes.
Supported by whom? By whom?
Listen, my brother. But what I'm saying, let's look at everybody doing it and let's say, but this has to stop. You can't say only CDC.
I agree. But you cannot deny that government money was being used to form militia across the country by CDC.
Well,
that was the problem.
You see, no. When you say that, I would disagree, because you are assuming government money is spent. You don't have evidence to.
You see, Ben, this is what you're doing. No, I cannot address it because
Mr. Dualo.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Dualo.
Yeah.
You cannot say a brigade. A brigade is a military term for fighters. You see the CDC supporters, you see the ANC supporters. In fact, Joseph Boakai had his
Mr. Gibbon.
Brigade, when you talk about brigade, don't just throw words around.
Listen, I'm not throwing words around. I'm a former non-commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps. So, I know more about military than you do.
No, but they don't throw the word brigade around.
No, but you got to understand, they themselves call themselves brigade.
No.
I'm not going to counter what they call themselves.
No, okay. Dwalu, what I can say is, let's say what you're saying should be stopped, because all of the parties are practicing it. So it's not restricted to CDC.
And it's being spearheaded by whom?
No, all the parties.
No, we initiated this. Well,
you can tell me, because soup been in existence almost 50 years.
No, honor President George Bush.
No.
Militarizing our young people in the country is wrong for the entire country. But this is being encouraged by CDC is destroying the country.
No, these are cultural practices. I will tell you this. Ellen, when she was there, I still remember soup. Martin College, they were doing the same thing. They were wearing the brown shirts, dancing in circles. These are social culture that are bad, that you and I can frown on, because they shouldn't continue. They are bad. I agree with you on that. But it's not CDC that initiated this. This is across the board. Yeke Koluba was seen with a brown vest with a black beret.
And why did Yeke Koluba buy the brown vest?
What I'm saying is,
listen, gentlemen, we're not going to make this a dialogue. First of all,
two wrongs don't make a right.
Mr. Dualo knows what a brigade is. He knows what or someone called lieutenant is. He knows the rankings and the files of that. We're not even going to go there. Mr. Patmore, let's address number 2 here. The video. First of all, the whole world, the UN, the US, the EU, everybody has condemned the video.
The whole world?
The whole world. Yes. If you find the United Nations is the whole world, nobody else can operate outside the UN. So that's the whole world. Okay. So I personally condemn the video. Whether it came from whoever it came from, it is wrong. You can make video, you can attack anybody, but when you make those kinds of remarks, like they are Jamaicans, they are Burkinabes, they got proved that Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda are banding together with George Weah to rig the elections, and they are using the Doe compound for the military training and the storage of ammunition, using it as an army depot. And somebody wants to say these are certainties, these are facts. It is what we call pure fabrication. Mr. Patmore, do you believe this video? We got Jamaicans coming, we got Al-Qaeda, we got Boko Haram, you got all of these people coming to Liberia. And in fact, he said, not only are they using the Doe compound, but George Weah had built a personal bank on Broad Street, where he will now stage the money, an alternate bank on Broad Street. I mean, please, is this how we're going to run our politics?
So first of all, let me say this. please do not come after Dwalu for using the word brigade. Then you come and say the whole world. You yourself throwing words out there now. You know, so stop with the number
I got a UN report, the UN, the EU, the US. I got a condemnation. It's everywhere. So what else do you want?
That's not every country.
Oh, come on. You see, you're splitting hell here.
Start interrupting me now. Start interrupting. Let me speak. Give me the space to speak. Okay? Okay, if the UN did not call a general assembly and get every country on there, most of that is not even going to be up for discussion when it comes. It's probably the UN representative in Liberia that probably made a release. That didn't even reach the General Assembly. Look, the UN and our international partners have given significantly to bring peace in Liberia. And it's important to them that peace remains in Liberia. And it's important to all of us that peace remains in Liberia. Okay? I think with such a video going out, the government of Liberia should come up and address those issues and reassure its citizens that such thing is not happening. You know why I think the government is not going to do it? Because information on that video is happening. We all know about the Porcupine Brigade. Nobody know about the Porcupine Brigade? Nobody know about the ex-Lloyd rebels that McGill is supporting? Nobody know about these things? I mean, why are we talking like to say we're all just walking upside down in Liberia? We have complained about these things. The international community has complained about these things. These guys are well armed, moving on the street of Liberia. They are even stronger than the national police. We talked about these things. Okay, every time we talk about it, the police director will come and say, "Oh, it won't happen again. It won't happen again."
Mr. Padmore, I will not allow you to fabricate these things. If you are not going to condemn the video, then you are actually supporting the video, because there is no brigade in like a brigade is a brigade in according to Dualo here, his military term, a brigade is 3,000 strong men and women in uniform. He said they are all over the state, they're all over the country. Where did he see that? Where in Monrovia or in Baza do you see armed rebels running around? I mean, you're gonna stop this. Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I think Dwalu and Michael they make important points. But the thing is, it is bad what we saw. But for us to address it, we must be honest with ourselves. This hyper militancy, it didn't start with CDC. It didn't start with CDC. It is wrong what is going on. But now let's look at the video. You see, when we just throw what I call red meat, even some of the things that we say, maybe this magistrate, in Grand Gideon, Padmore, I can bet you in your state, go to every Walmart stores. They're missing person on the list as soon as you walk in the store. People go missing. People get lost.
Ben, don't do that. Ben, don't do that.
No, let me end.
Let Ben.
Excuse me. I'm not backing the CDC. All I'm trying to tell you is, until we can have corroborated evidence in terms of who is responsible for this individual going missing, then we can speak with authority. But what we are doing, we are throwing accusations out there because we don't know what happened to this guy. We don't know. We can tell where the state need to do more in terms of investigation, in terms of finding where this guy went or what happened to him. But we cannot say, well, the government of Liberia kidnapped this guy. That would be wrong.
Nobody said that.
What I'm saying, that is an implication. That's an implication we're giving.
Who are you implying that? Besides,
there are things that are not said.
How you reason, Ben, is not something that's up for me. How you reason is up to you. But Mr. Gamer said something, I want to address that. You said brigades up to 3,000 people. I want you to listen to me very carefully. It's true. It is up to 3,000 people. CDC, they themselves. What do CDC call the top-ranking officials? Generals. True or false?
We all refer to each other.
No. What do CDC call the top-ranking officials?
Yes. We call each other comrade. They call you the comrade. They call you the general. They call captain.
Generals. Listen. At the CDC party headquarters, when President Weah took the podium, He said, you guys are the field soldiers who will bring out 1 million men. Listen to me. Look, as a politician, the terms you use, they carry tremendous weight. You can agree with that. Can you call them Liberian citizens? Must you call them soldiers? Must you call them? So what is this a Liberian citizen? What does he call them soldiers?
Anybody who fight for the cause is a soldier. The soldier in the scripture we said the scripture said the Bible the scripture you said we are soldiers in the Lord's army. That means we who are Christians, we are soldiers in the Lord's army.
Let me say this.
Listen, man, you guys have to be honest here when you're talking, because you are not talking to people who are naive and people who are crazy. So when you use the word you are turning, you try to legitimize what you were saying by saying I was a military man. I know very well that the thing is everywhere. So you are telling me that CDC have brigade in every county, 3,000.
This is what CDC themselves said. They say they will in every single county. Listen now, but let me finish. Let me finish, Mr. Gavin. No, let me finish.
We could have condemned the video. It was fake and it was from the ANC.
Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought.
Another endorsement for Cummings, another for endorsement, and none for Boakai so far. Now let's go to this endorsement. The significance of endorsement. Mr. Padmore, tell me the significance of endorsement and the quality of endorsement.
You know very well. I'm not going to let you leave without Christian and what you just said.
Thank you.
The first thing is that it is embarrassing for you to come here and link ANC to that video. That is not only embarrassing, but it's dangerous.
Yes.
Okay. The ANC is a party. Okay, we are a responsible party. We are a party of peace.
Yes, but the party personnel spokesman, like you said, the video fake, but what's in the video is true. Then what is that? And you are saying the video is fake, but what in the video is true? Then the video is true. If the ANC is saying that the video is fake, but what in the video is true, and you've been talking about it for the past 3-4 years, that we got generals walking around with guns all over the place. You got this. That means you are ANC is endorsing this particular video. You can split that here.
Can I speak now? Is it okay for me to speak?
Go ahead. Lance, go to number 3.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. And you will not tell me whether to go and when to go there.
No,
okay?
Our next topic is 3. Go ahead.
Okay. So I will state once more. Yes. It is dangerous for you, Mr. Gimmer.
For the video is dangerous though, right? But the video is dangerous, isn't it?
You will not let me talk, Mr. Gimmer?
Okay. Let me talk.
Let me speak, man.
Yeah, go ahead. The video is dangerous. We agree on that.
Look, if you agree this video is dangerous, then you should also be able to agree that associating this video with an organization where you have absolutely no proof is also dangerous. It's also very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. These are some of the things that brought about our civil war. These are some of the things that brought about the presidential aspiring here. Okay? Because we tend to associate these things with all in the evidence. Oh, ANC people, why? We know you guys are afraid of Alexander Cummings, but Alexander Cummings has proven over and over to be a man of integrity, and he will never stoop that low. Now, to go to the next topic. Mr. Cummings is not running around the place looking for endorsement. Mr. Cummings is being Mr. Cummings. He is running an organization, and we are marching forward, okay, to an election that we intend to win. People are observing him, they are watching him, and based on who he is, his behavior, the way he carries himself, the things that he wants to do, they are coming closer and closer, and they are endorsing him and asking, what can we do to help move this process forward? That is what is happening. What is happening in UP and why Boakai is not getting that, I do not know. That is something UP are going to have to answer. But here in the ANC, we are being the answer. And because we are the answer, and we are exemplifying that answer, okay, it will draw people. That's what happened. The light draws people, okay? And that is what is happening.
Mr. Dualo, Mr. Ben, okay, got your hand up. Mr. Ben, yes. One minute here. Fidel, I know you want to come in, but me, as a seditian and as somebody that have run politics in this country for so long, when in 2005, 2008, and 2012, Muammar Gaddafi came and said, I endorse Barack Obama. Barack Obama went on the air and said, the character of this man, he's a terrorist, he's a murderer. We do not want to be associated with anything that called endorsement.
Oh, thank God.
We turn around, other people endorsed George Bush, other people went and endorsed John McCain. They all came out and did the same thing. We got shady characters endorsing Cummings. And Cummings have not had the courage to say these guys are murderers, they are rapists. I do not need them. Mr. Fidel, go ahead.
I just want to print something for you guys. 1 second.
Okay, while he's gone, let me address your question very quickly, Mr. Gilman.
I have a question.
No. Let me address it.
Please, no. I didn't go.
You know, but Ben wait.
No,
Ben,
Ben,
wait,
wait, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you got 1 minute. Go ahead.
1 minute. Will you agree that President Weah should disavow Prince Johnson as well for his endorsement? Mr. Gilman,
excuse me?
Will you tell Prince Johnson, President Weah, to go public and say he doesn't want Prince Johnson's endorsement?
He joins the party. It's a collaborative agreement. They are partners.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
There's nothing fine.
But it doesn't matter.
It does.
So when you tell President Weah to tell Prince Johnson, I don't want your endorsement.
They are in a partnership. They didn't come and endorse. They are They are in partnership.
Yeah, but you can't be partner with a murderer, with a rapist.
No,
with people that
President Weah never came up to say he's a clean man and that he would not do business with dirty people.
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
President Weah said he's a man of peace and he's the president for everybody.
No, you will hear this. You will hear this, Mr. Gayman. You will hear this. Give me your analogy. If you have somebody who has tainted character, the likes of Prince Johnson, and that person gave their vote to President Weah, should President Weah say, I don't want Prince Johnson endorsement?
It is predicated on your stand. You say, I'm a clean man. My hands are clean. I do not associate with people. Mr. Fidel, let's go.
No.
Yeah,
so you want to tell me President Weah is a dirty man?
I want to go back a little bit.
We have never said anything. He said he's for
all life. It
was Mr. Cummings that came up with the money.
President Weah supports the murder of Liberian citizens. President Weah supports that.
He's a clean man.
No, President Weah supports the murder of Liberian citizens.
Let's go.
Yes. Support the murder of Liberian citizens.
I want to go back to this thing because I want it to be addressed.
Okay.
The hyper militancy in Liberia. You see this right here? This is Boakai, and people dressed in military uniform. This is Joe Boakai. What I'm trying to say is these practices are wrong. So we all should condemn it, whether it's Unity Party, whether it's CDC, whether it's SOUP, whether it's EFF or whatever, because they are not the right things to do. They are not. They are just wrong.
Do you have pictures for CDC?
Excuse me.
Do you have some pictures for CDC medicines?
Yes, I do have that.
Okay, can we see them? Can we see them also?
Well, I didn't print them out yet.
No English printer. I'm gonna pull me.
Yeah, but I can tell you that.
Let's go, man. Let's do number 3.
Raul, when CDC does it, it is wrong. We should frown on it.
That's the whole point I'm making. We should all frown on that.
I'm going to the next point. You talk about the endorsement. You see, you guys just went back and forth, but I would agree with Dwalu. You know, if Prince Johnson endorses George Weah or work with George Weah should be a man of integrity. Say, no, I don't want your endorsement. I don't want to partner up with you. Similarly, Cummings should come out and say, well, I don't want to partner up with Louis Brown, or I don't want to partner up with Mr. McIntosh. Now, let me just say this. This is a TRC report here. It's a TRC report on page number 295. Louis Brown is accused of misuse of funds, aiding and abetting. Then he also he's accused of having unexplained wealth. I mean, Tuga McIntosh, I mean, he's right here. He's accused of egregious human rights abuses I mean, that is page number 361. These are not the kind of people that Cummings should even say what he should literally come out and say, well, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want your endorsement. George Weah should do similar thing to Prince Johnson. It should be across the board. We are talking about the new Liberia. We talk about men and women of integrity. These are tainted characters. These are tainted people. I mean, these guys were banned for 25 years from holding public offices. They don't want to be associated with these kind of people. I mean, Prince Johnson is literally listed for prosecution. So, you know, it's just a total wrong. But the thing with the ANC is that Cummings has a mantra that I believe in. I believe in that. He said we can't keep doing the same thing over and over. And that's what Liberia needs to do. We need to divorce the past. There are many good Liberians out there. Padma is a good guy. Dwalu is a good guy. These are the kind of people endorsement we should be seeking. Not a guy like Prince Johnson. Not a guy like McIntosh. Louis Brown, let me give something. This is what Louis Brown said. Louis Brown said he was a student advocate, a student leader. They fight for rights, justice, quality, education, everything. Louis Brown said this, and I was hurt. Louis Brown said, why going behind MPFA lines? He saw Liberians, he saw dead, he said bodies. He saw bodies lying on the street. And this is what hurt me. Louis Brown said he saw dogs eating human beings. Let me tell you what that tells me. These were Liberians that were summarily executed. They had no justice. They had no process. They were killed by the NPFL because he said he was behind NPFL lines. Then the same Louis Brown, for some reason, he ended up serving the NPFL government. It shows me that he's opportunistic. It shows me that he has no integrity. Let me end with this. Adolf Eichmann, Nazi, after World War II, when he was caught, he said, oh, I was just obeying orders. But he was hung. He was found guilty. You cannot say, I serve Liberia. You serve a criminal government under the MPFL. This was a government that invaded the country and killed citizens. And that's what Mr. Brown himself admitted to. He said he saw dogs eating Liberians. Those were people's husbands, people's wives, people's children. And you serve that government and you're proud of it today? Mr. Brown should be ashamed of himself. We should condemn him in the strongest possible terms. These people kill Liberians. And they have no place in the new Liberia. Thank you.
Mr. Eastman,
yes,
we're talking about endorsements here on all sides of the political spectrum. My thing with Mr. Cummings is when you come with the moniker of a clean hands, clean man with integrity, decision-making ability, a corporate man, a man who calls it as he sees it, begin to hire these characters, the warlords, the war criminals as his partners. They are not endorsing him. They are coming out. They are coming out in droves. And some of us who are saying, you said George Weah and these people, they were tinted characters. They went in bed with characters, and you are clean, and you coming and doing even worse.
you know, I think Ben alluded to a culture of impunity. I don't know what we stand for. If we actually stand for integrity, because the people you're accusing, like Prince Johnson and whatnot, of all these horrendous crimes, is a senator, one of the highest positions in our entire government, and we allow that. So if we can allow warlords, I mean, George Weah was there, Bully is there. If we can allow these warlords to sit at the hierarchy, the apex of our government, how are we to stand to condemn anybody who's going to give a thumbs up or pledge a solidarity? I don't think Mr. McIntosh or Mr. Lewis, any worse than those other people participation in the war. We so selective. Like I enjoy Ben categorizing the enormous and the heinous acts, but we saw President Dole kill several people. He came there, he killed 12 people without a trial, without lawyer, without representation. He killed them. Next thing we saw, he declaring war on a whole county, on a whole tribe. But yet he has his picture on his wall. So it's all right for some people to do these heinous crimes, and other people, no, we need to get Prince Johnson. We need to get Lewis. I don't understand. So that's how we are. So I don't think anybody can come out endorse because we are allowed. We taking bath with these people. We in bed with all of them. They in our Senate, they in our government, they all around. Just like President Weah said, we're all one family. And all of them involved. Until we make up our minds that we will not allow or compromise our integrity and what we believe in. Until we have that backbone. I hear Swakoko Dennis all day on Prince Johnson. Not one other person. They condemn Vonnie Sherman. He has yet to even come up and face a trial or questioning about his involvement in what he was accused. We don't have any sense of integrity. And that is why anybody can endorse anybody, and I wouldn't point finger at anybody. So I don't expect Cummings to condemn anybody because nobody is being condemned in the whole country.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is
Mr. Ben, I need to react, please.
No, it's my time, Mr. Gilman. I mean,
Mr. Ben, before you come in, go ahead, Dualo.
Well, I want to say this. Next 5 minutes, I got to run away from you guys, but I want to say this.
Well, don't run. Don't run. You got to go. You got to go.
Listen,
You're not running.
Listen.
I knew you were going to run. You see, I told you were going to run.
Okay, no problem. Listen, I agree with Mr. Eastman 100%. We cannot accept a society in this fashion, and then we want to somewhat infuse a sparkling of morality when it suits us. We have to be consistent in the standards we set for our society. And as I leave here today, I want to challenge Liberians that are listening. Google a paper called Liberian, Where is Your Common Sense? Okay? There are things we create, the conditions in the country, we create those conditions for ourselves. So, Mr. Gimmy, I'm going to say this to you and go. If you're going to hold one person to a standard, they all should be held to the same standard. If it left with me, anybody who partook in the war should not be near any part of public service. Even if it's a public school teaching job, I don't want them near it. Because they should not go ahead and kill our people and walk away scot-free. Once again, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Dualo, just before you leave,
okay,
I'm looking for a photo here because this is
what?
April the 8th, 2004. That's me and
I see that picture.
No, listen, I'm saying this to say at some point we'll discuss this. I was there when they were brokering the peace. And what they did was they were actually dividing the government among factions.
I agree.
I'm not saying Padmo did it or you did. I'm talking about the people that we consider the world came on and say, listen, Model, this is, you got to meet for the final. This one, you got it, you got that. And these people, you got 18 months to get rich, do what you want to do, and then we'll have elections. These people took this money, solidified themselves, came back into government and won. So I want this to be on the table. We'll discuss it next Sunday because it is very germane to what Padmo is saying, how we got these people in our midst. We'll go to the root of it. For us to discuss this, we have to actually get to the root because a man who comes from war, killed so many folk, you give him a ministry and a budget for 18 months.
Yep.
He solidified himself, come back and beat common men like Padmo and Eastman and myself. And then you wonder how they wind up.
Exactly.
How they wind up.
Exactly. I see
so
that.
We got to talk about, thank you very much. Yeah, Mr. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say something. Mr. Eastman raised some interesting points. I just want to react.
A cheap phone, you see that cheap phone?
The first thing I want to say is April 12, 1980 shouldn't have happened in Liberia, shouldn't have. But you see, when we are looking at April 12, let's look at April 12 holistically. April 12 was what I would call a culmination of the agitation of the progressives that are despised. It was a culmination of the agitation, the rancor caused by these people. This was a group of incompetent people who had no plans for the country. They literally destroyed that country. So let me come back to what you said. Samuel Doe killed 13 men without trial. I want to say this. That was unfortunate.
Without representation.
No, hold on a second. Those men, they were tried. But I want to say this. They shouldn't have been killed. That was wrong. That was totally wrong.
You have a trial of representation?
Excuse me, sir. Let me land.
It was a military tribunal.
That was a trial. That was totally, it shouldn't happen. But when you come to what you say, there was war declared on the tribe. I want to say that statement is loose and without facts. You see, when we are looking at things, we who come on these shows, let's be analytical and let's be honest. Let's be honest with the things we say. The trouble in Liberia, I will just say this and I will stop here. It started literally from November 12th, and after Kuomba was removed from the commanding general to secretary. That was where all the problem came. So I don't want to go into that because a lot of wrong things happen. We can't justify anything. But when we are discussing history, let's be honest, because there are young people here who don't know what we are talking about. We should be holistic. Let's look at all sides involved. There was lots of things.
President Doe didn't tell everybody to leave from Nima County? He didn't tell them that?
No, you see, when you are saying that, you should also tell people what was transpiring in Nima County. Let me tell you this, the MPFL went through Sierra Leone. They were denied entry into Liberia. They were denied entry. The MPFL went through Ivory Coast. They were allowed to enter a county. So effectively, the MPFL were responsible for turning Nimba into a war zone.
No, before that, after 1980, after the Kuomba incident, the AFL went to Nimba and raped, killed, maimed a bunch of Mano and Gil people. Are you denying that?
Listen, guys. We are not here on the Doe issue. We are here on what we are talking about. That would be a separate issue. Now let's go to number 4 here. Nathaniel McGill is being petitioned by 3 counties. I think before we came on the air, we were in the back room and we're discussing this. Someone says that Nathaniel McGill is a disgraced politician or administrator or partisan. And we are saying, how could you say this man is disgraced when he was working for one man as chief of staff? And all of a sudden now, 3 counties are saying, if the executive manager doesn't want you, we want you. So, Mr. Eastman, I'm going to start with you because you have had less time here to talk.
Thank you.
This is what we're talking about here. This man, 3 counties are vying. They're not talking about, they are basically going to a primary to see who have the winning ticket to this man.
Thank you. I love that question, Mr. Gaiman. Thank you very much. This is the Liberia we are in. It doesn't matter. I just told you, we have warlords, we have criminals, accused criminals, sanctioned criminals. We have all those people, and we still endorse them. We still vote for them. You came on mine, you came on power, we vote for you. This is something that has happened to us. I think we are traumatized people because for us to allow people, just like you said, to manipulate us no matter what their crime is, no matter what their crime, they can still hold highest position in our country. That speaks volumes for who we are. And to rectify that, it will require a moral revolution. A lot of people talk about revolutions, but we need a moral revolution where we put what is right. We establish what is right. We establish principles, and we decide to live by them going forward. But as long as we're compromising, there's nothing wrong. He was never found guilty. He is way better than the people who are known killers, occupying top positions all over the country. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mr. Padmore, Mr. Ben, I'm coming to you. Mr. Padmore, historians and students of history would say the violence that we see perpetrating on each other here came from the formation of this nation. The nation was founded on violence. I think there was a New York article where the person said, once the foundation is crooked, every preceding president or individual will only do things around the edges, but the foundation is crooked. Everything else is going to be crooked. Is this something that is perpetuated through what we do, through our legislation, our cultural values, even our fraternities, our sororities, you name it? Is this something that started from the beginning of this country and it continues today? And how do we resolve this?
I'll be very clear. This is not something that started from the beginning of our country. If this was something that started from the beginning of our country, April 14, 1979 was not going to happen. The morning of April 12, Saturday, the morning of April 12, when thousands of Liberians got into the streets rejoicing, okay, for what they thought would be the would-be liberators, they would not have done it. November 12, 1985, when thousands of Liberians got into the streets celebrating for what they thought was the would-be liberators before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that would not have happened. The Liberian people have always been able to recognize that they are within bondage. Our issue has been we have never been able to rise up to the challenge to change our own destiny. We keep waiting for would-be liberators. That's what we've been doing all of the time. We continue waiting for somebody else to do this for us. And so when people sit down and they condemn, they say, oh, we'll condemn Cummings because Louis Brown went and endorsed Cummings, and Cummings did not come out publicly to reject the endorsement. But a man who was renting a 2-bedroom apartment he could barely afford, after 5 years, has taken on all this wealth. And now we are basically begging this man to rule us. Most people don't see this, but I'll tell you right now. After George Weah, the next most powerful man in CDC is Nathaniel McGill. The person to succeed George Weah, if he wins, come 2023, is Nathaniel McGill. Nathaniel McGill is on an upright march to the presidency. This is how we award our people. A young man born in 0.4, who went to demonstration school, went to CWA, went to Cottington, educated himself, went to America, worked within himself, made himself somebody, come back and prevail himself to his Liberian people and say, look, I'm here to help change your lives. Hey, step aside, man. Why a rogue? You bring a rogue. When Jesus was standing there and they said, you want Jesus or you want Barnabas? Crucify him. Give us Barnabas. This is Liberia. Give us Barnabas. And then we wonder why we are in what we are in. Why are we poor? Why our children are dying because there is no medicine and the hospital do not work. Why our people are semi-illiterate because the school they go to, there is nothing there. But we keep yelling, give us Barnabas. And then we wonder why. It is sickening. It is sickening. But as Liberians, we wake up every morning, and we try. We try to do the best we can with our people. But our people need to rise up for themselves and choose a better future. And that starts with choosing a better leader. Thank you.
Ben, I know Mr. Padmore agreed partially with the history of violence in this country from the very formation when the UN Navy ship, the destroying of the natives. Last night, I think we had a historical talk show here where Stockton and Carey and these people who were commodores of the U.S. Army, they went on a scorched earth campaign. The natives that resisted, they would not only kill you, but they would burn everything in sight. And then in more recent time, we saw when Doe was being castrated and killed, there were those people that were out of power, the oligarchs and their supporters, they were cheering. When Taylor was coming, I was in New Jersey, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine who is in Monrovia now, put a group together. They were from the same area there. And they were cheering. They had a cheering squad for Chucky Taylor. Chucky. They had a squad in Newark, a whole cheerleading squad. And when Ellie came, I was in Townview basement when I heard the stuff about Level Monrovia and we rebuild it, and there were people there cheering. And now here we are. When April 14th came, when Bright and E4 were killing people, there were people who were cheering and said, teach them a lesson. So the history of violence has been in our DNA and it remains in our DNA. As long as we are in denial, it will repeat itself. And as usual, people, we suffer from the Stockholm Syndrome. The Stockholm Syndrome tells us that we identify with our oppressors, people who do us wrong. We rather forgive them than give. Like somebody told me, Mr. Gaiman, with everything you have done, you can't do bastard, you will not win even dog catching position. That's what somebody told me. So, I mean, I'm talking about what this may say. So go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, you see, I will kind of combine Mr. Eastman and Mr. Padmore's reaction. You know, from what they said so far, I heard people, sorry guys, I must say this. I don't think they have a deeper understanding of how society works. You know, when I see Liberians, most times they say, oh, our people don't know how to vote. They are voting wrong. They are voting wrong. Okay, let me just ask this question. McGill, they said McGill was endorsed in 3 counties, been endorsed in 3 counties. And Padmore get one thing right. You know, he said a guy will come from London or whatever, but go back to Liberia, say, I want to run. You see, society runs on what you call hierarchy. The people in those counties, the ordinary people who stand online to vote, you can't blame them. You came Amara, you came apart, you can't be blamed. The intelligentsia, the 4% that rule 96%, they have to be present in Bon County or whatever county. Where are the leaders in those counties? Where are the chiefs? Where are the educated people? Where are the professional organizations? This is a failure of the intelligentsia. You know, they are failing to do their duties because they have to lead the society. Democrat Party, Republican Party, I will tell you, my brother, they have what they call the Republican establishment, the Democrat establishment. There are a few group of people, they decide who get on the ticket. In Liberia, Akara Gray gets on the ticket, and you blame the voters for voting for Akara Gray. The voters will always vote, no matter who's on the ticket. They vote on emotion. I'm CDC man, I'm ANC man. The leadership, they are the one failing Liberia. The leadership, it's not the people. You came Amara, you came apart, vote for you. I mean, just a few days ago, we heard people saying, sanction, no sanction, will vote for you. Where is the counter narrative from leaders, from people? We have professional organizations all over the country. They are not doing nothing. Every year, budget gets passed, messed up budget. Where are the professional people? Where are they at? It's a failure of leadership. The society is operating because the intelligentsia have failed. They don't even know what to do. They don't organize themselves. They don't impact the society. The voters are doing just what I will tell you this. In 2005, after that election, 2011, every lawmaker, almost 95% of the lawmakers, they were expelled by the voters. The next election, almost all the lawmakers, the voters are doing what is right. We do not have leadership. We do not have men who are willing to stand up. Yeah, man. I said, well, I want to organize a few people. Padmo said, I won't win Tomato Cup. Eastman said, I'm a joke. So the intelligentsia, they continue to wrestle with themselves. They can organize, they can come together. They are providing no leadership. That's why the country is like that. I can't blame the voters. It's a failure of leadership. Where is the counter narrative to George Weah? Everybody say, oh, George Weah is failing. Okay, where do we go after George Weah? Where do we go? CPP a few days ago, it collapsed. It collapsed. I mean, right here, it collapsed for all of us. It's a failure. So it's a leadership failure. It's a leadership failure. It's not the voters.
Great. Mr. Fanel, thank you very much. We got two more, then we'll go to our calls and then some comments. Let's do number 5 real quick here. Finance Minister, Mr. Amara Konneh, after being in government, being in the past government, was known to be one of the richest men in the government, left with a golden parachute, went, got a job, came back. 5 years later, he's coming back thinking that people have forgotten all of that. I saw him at a church. Then I saw him at a mosque. I saw him with the Zoe people. Everywhere he goes, he's bending down. They laying hand on him. They praying for him. He said he's going to build the road from Monroe to Bapolu if he's elected. Mr. Cummings has a plan. George Weah got a PAPD, everybody. This man said, if you elect me, he didn't say I'm going to work with the incoming government or the present government for us to build a road. He said, I will build a road when you get elected. Mr. Eastman, isn't this what the people, when you and I go to Liberia, I think Padmo, you and myself will get down there, the folks don't want to see us because they don't come with a BB degree again, they don't come with all the title to come and lie to us. When an educated person make that kind of claim, when you vote for me, I'm going to building the road to Bapolu. Can you imagine? If the state cannot do it, one guy said he's going to do it, Mr. Eastman.
Yeah, that is the state of the nation. There are many things Ben just said too that are very true. There is definitely a failure, and I don't know if I will just land it solely on intelligentsia, but we have condemned. If we condemn everything we believe in, then who are we? If there's nothing our people have to look up to, there's no model of behavior, there's no model of a good person, a leader, then what our people will look for? When they say when there's no vision, people perish. In other words, when you don't have people who are setting examples of how to behave, how to carry themselves, people don't have anything to believe in. So they're going to try different experiments. And that's what we see now. We have compromised our morals, and that has set us backwards. We have to bring back, even though we need leadership, but we also have to take an initiative. Each and every Liberian has to make a commitment to integrity of itself. And they have to, even we destroyed our Sunday bush, our Poro bush. Those societies taught principles of how to live and conduct yourself amongst others. That with the absence of that, and it's not being taught in the schools. It's not being taught by parents, because a lot of parents today were self-read. Their parents were killed. All that good nature they're supposed to imbue in their children, they never had the chance because of the war. So we have self-read parents raising children. What kind of virtues are these parents going to preach? So there is a lot of restitution that has to go, but it will start with a moral code to believe in. You can, as long as the group is the same, that they don't have a moral code, I don't care who you pick in the bag, you will get the same thing. But when you start instituting what is a code that we can live by, that we can be. Start for the rudiments. And somebody, you talked about, was it wrong from the get-go? If you look at the founding principles, they were not wrong, but they went astray. People try to keep other people out. But what we have to do, we have to start from scratch. We have to start again with a code that we all agree to live by, and put together a list of good things, principles that we want to see in each person behave. And unless we establish that moral code, we're going nowhere. Okay. The moral code is what keeps people, Christians, Muslims, all understand this. It's the moral code that drives people. And if you don't have one, then you become a victim of circumstance and whatever whim there is that's blowing.
Mr. Padmore, every time you and I get together, we are talking about business, whether it's in agriculture, engineer, whatever, we talk about business. And we are talking about the dignity of work. We have to work to make good money. Money is available. But when you find someone who is within our circle, like Amara, Konneh, and all of these folks, that have a degree in business, have been successful, have money somewhere, if these people cannot come back like you and I want to do, to have a business, to help our government, to leverage government, to open factories, to do business, and then we go and say, well, I just left the World Bank with my business degree and all that, but I can only serve this government in the Senate. My business acumen and all those things that I carry, it means nothing. Now I want to go in the Senate. Then you look at the incentives in the Senate. Somebody keep talking about these boys got rich overnight in building mansions. These people were making $300 a month and they were building homes. And you go from $300 a month, according to the real salary for McGill, was $93,000 plus that. In the Senate, you talk about $20,000 plus a month. Mr. Padmore, I don't care where you live in this country, you don't know too many for American and Liberian that make $200,000 plus. In Liberia, that's what they are making. So we have to decentivize the government position that is making everybody millionaires. So you tell your son, go to engineering school, and your starting salary will be $50,000. But the next guy down the street trying his luck, when he gets into the Senate, he's making over $200,000. So why shouldn't I just try my luck and go to engineering? Why go to engineering school, spend 7 years and work my way up when I can make scoop of money like what Konneh is trying to do? Konneh is trying to do with the expertise he has, what he bring to the country. Instead, he has chosen all of that to leave and go into the Senate. So what does that say about us, the educated or somehow educated, successful folk that's supposed to take the lead?
Well, here's the thing here. So there are a couple of things first I will speak to that. The fact of the matter is, if Liberia is a country, it's a democratic state, and the majority rule. And there's a saying that a group of people, right, unknowingly coming together are very powerful. And as long as people vote the way they are voting in Liberia, the few people that really want to bring change will not bring change. The legislature will not lower their salaries and benefits. Government ministries will not be. When I came to the country, the very first thing I told myself, I don't ever want to work in government because it's disincentivizing. And the first thing I learned in America, excuse me, if you want to be successful, stay away from government. Go in the private sector. Go and learn. And somebody with a company will hire you and pay you tons of money for your knowledge. or you will have the opportunity to create your own company. That's what I learned. That's the first thing I learned when I came to the country. It is the reverse in Liberia. But that is not the only issue with Liberia. Okay? Look, we cannot sit down here and badmouth Amara Konneh. And say, oh, the man, you know, he rich, he this, he that, he the other, he rule over you know the Ministry of Finance or the corrupt government. Look, when you took over, you should have audited Amara Konneh. Audited him to the bone. And if indeed he was corrupt, he should have been investigated, prosecuted, and punishment should have been meted out against him. You can't do not do those things and then come back when he wants to move into other positions. They say, oh, he come here again, or he come here again, and I made a role, and I made a this. I've heard a lot of seditionists say that. Okay, and we're talking about failure of leadership. Okay, it's a failure of leadership on the part of our president, President Weah.
Mr.
I know when I hear President Weah, you got to talk, but I will
no. What I'm saying here is not Konneh per se. It's us. With all the expertise that we have, when we go home, why don't we use it, like you said, in the private sector? Why do we always want to go in government? I guess.
Well, that's a general statement.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking is when the judge of Delegation, the gangster said, Delegation, why you always rob the bank? He said, because that's where the money is. And the judge was shocked because, hey, if you want to make quick money, where do you go? Do you want to start an agricultural business where you got to grow your avocado, your cocoa for 4-5 years and work hard and make money? Or you want to take your chance and go to the Senate and make $250,000 the first year? So this is what I'm saying. What do we do to take away the incentive?
To be honest with you, what we have to do, it might sound counterproductive, but what we'll have to do, we'll actually have to enter government to change government. I'm guessing that's why Ben Finyeye, instead of going to Liberia and opening a company, he wants to be president. Because he recognizes that in order to change government, you have to be part of government. The Liberian government is not going to change from without. It has to be changed from within. And for that to happen, competent people will have to avoid those private sectors, go into government, work from the inside out, and change those things.
Wow. Ben, my boy from Buchanan, my own Basel boy, when Dylan was running,
say something. You
see, 1 minute. Finn, 1 minute. Dylan said, Jerome, I'm going over there. Believe me, we're going to change. We're going to change. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And the salary and all of these things was over. In fact, he campaigned against the referendum. So when I called him on this show the last, I said, you campaign against all of this. Why you going to? He said, now I'm going to try to introduce a bill to lower our salary. Mr. Ben, go ahead. Honorable.
Yeah, you see, we open up this show with a talk on the lack of accountability. And Padmo said a lot of good things that I want to agree with. Padmo said Amara Konneh left government. The CDC, unfortunately, and I would say disgracefully, refused. I will tell you this. I was advocating that the government of Liberia under the Unity Party be forensically audited. Some of the people at the time, they say, oh, these guys are hardliners. Audit is not a cuss word. It's not a cuss word. It's just a statement of accountability in terms of what we met here and how we go forward. Let me just tell you guys something. On March 29, 2018, Global Witness, they are an independent organization. They are not like for Unity Party. They are not for CDC. They are not for anybody. I want to show you guys something. They published an audit report. I want to get it exactly. An audit report. 1 second, guys. Wherein Amara and some other officials of government of Liberia, they were deemed to be corrupt and or receiving, they received bribed. I'm not saying I I said, I'm just telling you what Global Witness said. This was an audit report by an international organization that is reputable. But now, look at where we are. Today, me and you guys, we are talking about Amara Konneh wanting to stage a comeback. My brothers, that is possible because of the lack of accountability. It is possible because the CDC government refused for some strange reason to audit the Unity Party government.
What's that reason, man? What is strange reason?
Well, like I said, at the time, we were in CDC, and I was one of those advocating for a forensic audit, in total audit, and there were some people pushing back. I don't know why they said they wanted to maintain some form of, in the name of peace. But I told them, peace is not the absence of war.
Honorable Nathaniel, look in your constitution, in the Liberian Constitution, or give me anywhere where auditing the past administration is a constitutional duty.
No. You see, we did not associate it with constitutionality. What we associated with was that in 2010, Transparency International declared Liberia as the most corrupt country in the world with Mongolia in 2010. And during the 12 years of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Liberia received tremendous amount of money. So all we wanted to say, where did the money go? We just wanted to find out. So the CDC government should have a benchmark, should have a starting point in terms of this is what we made here and this is where we are starting from. But the lack of audits, now everything is on Judge Weah because there was lack of accountability. So now Amara Konneh is bold to come back. Like I said, Global Witnesses, it recommended that Amara Konneh receive $35,000 bribe. I have the report here. $35,000. It's not me. I'm talking about Global Witness, what they said. So if we refuse to audit this guy after an international organization did an audit and made recommendations, we can blame Amara Konneh. Amara Konneh will go to the mosque and the imam will pray for him. We'll go to the church and pray for him.
I want to add on to what Ben is saying.
Yeah, real quick. So we'll go to our last one. And go to our
Ben. Today, I totally agree with you. But the reason is glaring. You said why didn't they audit them? It is glaring. You do not want to hold somebody accountable because you do not want to be held accountable. We are we're allowing you to compromise these principles, these laws, because we will compromise them as well. Because you know very well the same yardstick you use to measure somebody will be used to measure yourself. It is glaring, and nobody wants to admit it. But the reason why they never held them because they had intentions of doing similar.
Mr. Eastman, I want to disagree with you. But when it comes to auditing, okay, first of all, when I was very close to the Ellen government, when we talk about auditing, after the John Molu did all the audits in the world in Liberia, I think they had 104 or 140 audits, and few of the audits were taken to court, including my own man, Snow. When he told them, take me to court, I'm going to win, and he did win. Few of those cases, the government, remember during the early, the government won no case. The only case the government won was some guy that stole $2,000 from the central bank. They say he filed false report and all of that. That man, that guy was held accountable. Edwin Snow, $6 million was not found guilty. All these folks. So Ellen made the decision. We are spending millions persecuting these folks, and we are not getting the result. It is not the persecution here. It has to be our judicial system that keep putting all of these. I mean, we talk about top-notch auditors found these people with evidence, and they tell you that Edwin Snow, even though you have return checks, you have everything. They're saying insufficient evidence he wore. Everybody insufficient evidence, and they all wore. So why spend millions? Somebody that have injured you, spend millions persecuting them, only to find out that the judicial system upon which you rely, say all of these people were not guilty because they were not found. They got lack of evidence. So let's move to the last one here.
One last one, Mr. Gaiman. Please, one last one. You see, this is the audit report right here. Let me just list the names. It listed Amara Konneh first.
See, that flip phone, stay giving you a hard time. That flip phone, get rid of that flip phone. Get a real iPhone.
And Robert Salif. I'm just saying the report listed Amara Konneh, Cristiano Tar, Patrick Sandolo, Nadi Davis, Rudolph and Randolph McLean, and Robert Salif. What I'm saying is these were officials that this organization audited and found them culpable of receiving bribes. But nothing happened to them. They did their homework. They just handed out the report, and we did nothing with it. So we can't blame our corner.
But listen what Jerome is saying. Even when they carry them to court, nothing comes out of it. And again, it's that culture. Because it's all, everybody is compromised. From the judge to the policeman to the audit, everybody is compromised. And we continue, we perpetuate it, but we want to point finger when we ourselves doing it. We won't say that the president, where? You yourself doing it. The judge is doing it. The senator is doing it. The other corner won't come back and get some more. They keep on doing it. We do it. Why are we pointing finger instead of pointing a finger at ourselves? We have to establish a moral code within ourselves.
Great.
We have to establish that.
Let's go to number 6 real quick and go to our call. President, we are in a delegation at the UNGA. Why the U.S. ambassador to the Liberian ambassador to the UN was fired or recalled? Ben.
Well, the first thing I want to say is I think it amounts to what I call a tactical blunder. You know, I mean, even if this man would be, terminated, at least we should have pushed it a little bit forward. Because, when he comes here as an ambassador, as the head of the Liberian delegation, at least he would need the ambassador to kind of help him interact with other people. I don't know if there's Chargé Affairs who would kind of assist in that role, but I'm sure that they should have waited a little bit. But like I said last year, and sorry I have to repeat this, there is really no need for the government of Liberia.
Padmo, you gotta help this guy, man. You gotta donate some money. Mr. Padmo.
Considering our economic condition, to bring people here, plane load of people, giving them padam, giving them DSA, and coming to attend the United Nations General Assembly, we have an ambassador there. We have an ambassador there. So considering our economic conditions, I don't think the ambassador was
recently appointed, though.
That's what I'm saying. I understand that, but I don't think we should bring this huge group. Like last year, we brought a humongous delegation. I'm being told this year is even larger. It cost the government. Thank you.
Mr. Eastman.
I grew up in the diplomatic field. And for something like this to happen, it must be that Ambassador Patton had done something very egregious, not necessarily against the law, but he must have rubbed somebody the wrong way. And because I'm in sympathy with embassies all around the world who are cash strapped, if you do not furnish the embassies the money they need to carry out business, to do their functions, how you expect them to operate? And I know there's been a cry through all the embassies, especially the one in Washington, D.C., that they don't have cash to do anything. So if the ambassador was called upon to do certain things and he was constrained because he didn't have the finances to do it, if that was reported, that could have gone in a way that caused him to lose his job. But I want us to exercise caution. I think it is early in the game. Ambassador Patton he's been an ambassador for a long time. He also is a Brabi. So I might see this maybe a strategic move temporarily, but it doesn't appear that it was the wisest thing to do, especially when the ambassador is supposed to brief the delegation on things that need to be discussed. So it doesn't look like the wisest decision.
Mr. Eastman, remember the president is not coming to Washington, D.C. The UN has its own ambassador. So that's a whole different arrangement. Go ahead, Mr.
But
Pat.
you were
Who's the ambassador to
disappointed.
the UN?
Huh?
Who's the ambassador to the UN?
We have a
My
UN.
brother,
We have a we have a Liberian ambassador to the UN.
what's up?
Yes, but go ahead.
Okay. You research it while we speak.
Okay, go ahead.
My own is very simple. I agree with the presidential aspirant. It's a waste of money. We come here, we have nothing to offer. We have nothing to give. I think it should be, even if the president wants to boost his morale, it should be a smaller unit of people coming. And concerning the recall of the ambassador, I think it is suspect with the timing. It might not necessarily be something he did. It could very well be something he did not do. You have to understand, there's a sanction list out. There are more sanctions to come. These things, when we see sanction lists, we tend to assume that this is the beginning of the conversation. Usually when those lists are released, that is the end of the conversation. Before that list is released, there are diplomatic conversations that happen. Okay? And maybe those conversations are happening right now. And maybe, just maybe, Ambassador Patton was being given certain instruction from Monrovia, and it was just too much for him. And he said, you know what? I'm a professional. I've been in the diplomatic field for a long time. CDC will come and go. Judge Weah will come and go. I am not going to taint my legacy to do this. And he could have very well said, recall me. Recall me. Okay? Recall me.
Mr. Patmore, you always find
who is the UN ambassador
to inject innuendo. We talk about facts here.
Who is the UN ambassador?
Why they told him to do it when you have no facts.
I know who the ambassador is.
And who's the ambassador now? The new ambassador.
She's sorry, but she's my cousin. I'm a Sarah Fanier. Yeah, I know who she is.
There you go.
But she just got appointed.
It doesn't matter. We have an institution there.
Okay, the Liberia has not had a representative in the UN.
We understand.
Okay,
we understand this because I know the reason I didn't say anything because I know of the appointment. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't speaking of the appointment.
We do have a seasoned politician or ambassador there who is going to work. Now the Liberian ambassador to the US usually deal with all the diplomatic affairs around the Washington D.C. area. He well seasoned, that's his job. So in December, when the president is coming, this is why this was done early, because by December that place should be. And guess what, Mr. The former ambassador is not fired. Don't be surprised if he wound up being the chief of staff.
That's just what I was telling you.
So
that's why I told you.
Yeah, it could be strategic.
That's not possible.
Well, you see, you are reading tea leaves. Okay, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, if we have calls, let's go to the calls, and now we'll read some comments and then go. This has been very
people have been asking to post the number.
Okay. Mr. C, could you please post our telephone number?
And Mr. Gamey, I'm kind of pressed for time though.
Yes, I am too. We got 15 minutes here. We gotta go. We want to do the calls. If we can't do the call, we'll read the comments and then we'll do our closing. But I think this was very educational and invigorating. I love this. For the first time, Mr. Padmo has been in a hot seat. He started sweating. You see? He started sweating and Padmo, you gotta help Ben with a phone. We gotta make a donation for Ben to get a phone because the security apparatus were kind of screening your calls because you kept freezing. So okay, if we let's go to the comments here. Let me go to comments. Okay, are you all seeing the comments? Okay. First of all, let me say a shout out to Elvis Morris, Sam Wallu, Hawa Mesga, Eska Sharif,
You know your minister name? Yeah. Minister.
Darius Lewis. Yeah, that's a minister now.
Yeah.
Ambassador Dana Zia, Luo Boko, Samuel Jackson, Emmanuel Jackson, Glenda June Genius, Bob Solonte. I mean, we got so many. Okay.
Okay, read.
Carson. Huh?
Read what they say.
Oh, okay. Well, let me say hi to them first, and let me go back to the back here. We can't read all, but we pick few. First come, first serve. So I want to appreciate those who came in first. Emmanuel Jackson is watching from Boston. Okay. Stanley Thomas saying watching. Okay. We have Dr. Pachico. Okay, listening well. Okay, there you go. Howard Mesker. That man is not a professional. He laughed at us when we brought our petition of justice on July 7th. He refused for us to use the bathroom. Bunch of try and error boys and girls. That's Howard Mesker. Howard Mesker again. Ben is the perfect example why we shouldn't hire poor boys. He can't afford a good phone or internet. Chris Gay. Thanks, Jimmy. We blame the president, but we ourselves doing it. It seems real hard to put corruption in to put corruption out of Liberia, he meant to say. Seattle Thompson, Jimmy Eastman, thank you. You are 100% right. Glaringly obvious. Sam Waller, really, Jerome? Constitution? Yes. Elvis Morris, smart people can also be corrupt. And Amara is very smart, but he's also very corrupt. Emmanuel Jackson, as James Carville, Clinton's political strategy put it, if the economy is stupid, no offense to the panelists, the Liberia economy doesn't support the growth and social economic of its citizens. Margaret Mapu Dawson, to cut our young women, you know what? Society, my ugly pink toe. We do not want any Sunday bush business. Those of you who are talking about your society there. Aku Joseph Koma. Those counties that are petitioning Mr. McGill are still living in denial and thinking he's going to carry bags of money as before. Sad for them, because I'm McGill, whatever. Anyone who understands Liberia discriminatory and inequitable past history would not be able to disassociate what's happening today from the history. Sam Waller. Wilson, Nabet. Those counties that are vying for Nathaniel McGill are the ones who were benefiting from his criminality. Edith Wallace, there is no reason to do the same thing as everyone is doing. Someone has to set the pace and make a difference. Once you come on the mantra of being different, it should be perfect. It should be reflected in your actions. Wilson Nambet again. If Mr. Brown were to endorse the UP or the CDC, would they have said no? Edith Wiley, Cummings is saying one thing and acting differently. Action speaks louder than words. CDC is the government in charge now, so they cannot be acting like they are still in opposition. She called it the evening. Doris Thompson, who are Joel Howard Taylor, Prince Johnson, etc. They are all rebel association. So your stop that, please. Howard Mesker, the peace ambassador, was endorsed by the same killer. You guys don't love your country. Shameful. John Mawulo, what's more important here is what in the video, not the video, is what is said in the video. The truth. I say yes.
You know, I sorry, I wasn't able to leverage in the video. I had gone off, but the content of that video The things that were said are scary, and we know it was false. It's a false news article, but the things that were in the video are concerning to everybody. I think that's what they're talking about right there.
Great. Mr. Tony Leeway, Mr. Gilman, I mean, they keep mixing me up with the other man. Mr. Gilman makes a lot of noise in support of his political interest. He has no credibility to even present himself as a representative focused on Liberia, a media entity considered to be responsible and credible. Mr. Leeway, come on here and debate me. Don't hide behind those shades. See, I'm a gunslinger.
We gotta watch time.
Okay, John. Thank you very much. This is one of the things that we talked about. We have to. We're not taking a course today. Mr. Fennell, you gotta go. Your closing, please, and be real quick.
I want to say thanks to you. Thanks to my good friend Eastman, Mr. Padmo. You know, I think I don't know if it was you. Somebody said it at the onset of the show that if we had this kind of opportunity to discuss our national issues, we would have gone to war. I mean, I think that's a good thing to say if we look back. I want to say these interactions, they are healthy. Padmo is my very good friend. Mr. Eastman and myself, I talked 1 or 2 times. And, you know, these things are good, guys. Let's continue to disagree to agree. Liberia is all that we have. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you, especially Mr. Host, for the invitation. And I would like to say a few things before I go.
You are in a hurry. You can't shut up. Let's go.
Yeah. Regarding the endorsement, the ANC should literally come out and reject the 2 endorsements. That's my expectation. Also, regarding the video, I want the ANC to also come out and distance itself. Because you see, when we are trying to disagree, it is unfair to say, oh, the thing is fake, but some of the information it contains are facts. You can have it both ways. You see, the last thing I want to say, I want the ANC to disagree with the CDC based on the issues. And that is what is missing in this year leading up to next year. I have been trying to push this thing to the front. Like, let's concentrate on the issue. Mr. Eastman said it right. Liberia has a lot of problems, but we are focused on trivialities. Look at this late in the game. We're talking about a guy like Prince Johnson. You know, Prince Johnson, I mean, he's nothing. Let's concentrate on the issue that matters to our people. Let's concentrate on the new Liberia. So I want to say thank you to everybody, to every Liberian hearing the sound of my voice. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I welcome every view. I want you guys to please spill over to kofa2023.org. I will be contesting for the presidency next year, and I want Liberians to judge me based on my platform, based on my proposal for changing Liberia. I will tell you guys this: Liberia indeed can get better. Liberia indeed can be transformed. It takes leader with integrity and a sense of fairness. I want to say thank you to everybody hearing the sound of my voice. Good evening, good morning, good night. And thank you, Mr. Gaiman, for inviting me. Thank you, Mr. Eastman, and thank you, Mr. Padmo. Thank you very much.
Great for a guy who was in a hurry, but that was quick. Yes, Mr. Padmo, go ahead. Mr. Padmo, your right-hand buddy just closed. Go ahead.
Nah, man, I'm a friend. I told you, man, I'm not even friends on Facebook. He blocked me. That they can do, but they won't lead. They won't hear what you got to say. We the constituent, but they won't. Look, I think the issue with this video that came up, look, it's very clear, that this video is not an authentic video. This wasn't an authentic news, a news outlet, and I think anybody with an iota of common sense will know that. For us to be out here demanding that people come out to condemn it, I think it's ludicrous. The video has no value that it needs to be condemned. However, the contents of the video are very concerning, and I think the government should if anybody should come out and speak about that video, it should be the government. I think the government should come out. I think the joint security should come out and speak on that video. Are those things happening? The government they have a responsibility to its citizens. That when things like that come out, to be able to come out and dispel those things. And if in fact those things are happening, to take action and say, yes, we got government officials or former government officials that are commingling with former or rebel leaders, and we are going to dispel that. We are going to take action on that. We're going to fire some people, and just on and on. The government has a responsibility, and if this government does not want to lead, then let it step aside, and allow people who want to lead and who want to change Liberia. Change is what we always tap on. So we can't keep going back and saying, oh, well, Ellen did it, and this person did it, and that person did it. And where does the change come from? When does the change come? And the people are hungry for change. The people are tired of living in poverty. And so they want real change. And so we are here, the Alternative National Congress, and its political leader and standard bearer, Alexander Benedict Cummings, here to bring change. And so join the bandwagon. Don't listen to that co-family. Join the bandwagon. We are here and we are coming to bring change. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eastman.
Everybody talks a lot, and I have heard so many women and so many people say we don't do enough. We talk. We don't do. They want to see more action. But I honestly believe before we can see the right actions, we have to identify the things that we want to live by and die by. Live and die by. In other words, if we believe stealing is wrong and should be condemned and punished for everyone who does it, then if that's your uncle, that your cousin, that your whoever does it, they should get that punishment, and you should advocate that they be punished. Not point to John Brown who did it before. Unless we establish the principles that we're going to live by and everybody adhere to it, will not be an organized society. That is what holds societies together. Principles, ways of the laws, and that they uphold. We don't uphold our laws throughout. That is why we can't have these constant problems. So let's go back to the drawing board. What do we hold dear and sincere? How do we want to live with each other? What are the violations, and do we agree that anyone who makes those violations should be punished no matter who you are? That is when we're going to start moving the society. That's all.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to Mr. Eastman, Mr. Padmore. We're going to have a bill here for you, an invoice for pushing ANC. Mr. Ben, we're also going to have an invoice for you and for President Weah. I don't talk too much about President Weah, so we got no invoice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are talking about. These are great folks, great professionals. We meet here. We love Liberia. It doesn't matter where we come from, in position, opposition. We all have our own idea how to run the government. I want to thank the government. When this video came out, they sent the joint security to Grand Gila County. And I like the way the gentleman pronounced Grand Gila in the video, Grand Gila. So we went to Grand Gila and we saw when there was nothing there. So I also agreed that they made a statement, and thank for the first time the Justice Minister, Mr. Dean, put up a strong statement followed by the UN and all of that, and that was great. But the government cannot follow every video, because in the next 12 months, they're going to be coming out everywhere. So we have to make sure that we keep our eyes open. Everybody sees something, say something. That's what it would take for us to keep our country safe.
Okay.
The change we are talking about, Cummings cannot bring any change. President Weah cannot bring any change. Kofa cannot bring any change when we as people are not willing to change. If you are going to keep bribing the police officers because you want to go quick, if you want to buy your land 3 times, and most people have done that, and you go to court and the lawyer tells you, give me something to give it to the judge so the case can go away, and you do that. That's what it is. If you are a pastor in the church and you are corrupting the little girls, you are corrupt. People don't go into government and become corrupt. You are corrupt. It's in your DNA before you get there.
Thank you.
So when we are talking about civic, when we were young, they say civic said the government begins in the family, from the household. If your mother sends you to buy a bunny and you took $5 to buy a bunny, you beg and you get $4, you buy the bunny for $4 and put $1 in your pocket, you are corrupt. If Padmo saying to buy soda and you buy soda, you don't give him the change because you think he's wealthy, you are corrupt. So this is what we are doing. We have to dig. This is a soul-searching thing. So if we're going to change our government, we're going to change our country, it begins with us. We got to look in the mirror. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Next Sunday, we're going to delve a little deeper into how did we get here? How did the warlord become so wealthy that regular folks stand no chance? They got cash violence on the side. We're going to dig a little deeper. Thank you very much. As always, we say, we are all Liberians. See you next Sunday.
We are Liberians.